Okay, sorry about that. We got cut off there. These videos have a really short time limit, but yeah. So Lee Harvey Oswald, the one who's accused of this crime, and ultimately, you know, at least the commission who investigates it finds him as the perpetrator. Yeah, so he'd been a Marine Corpsman. He had actually lived previously in the Soviet Union for a year, which is really unusual during the Cold War, obviously, or I mean, any time, but especially during the Cold War. He had left for the Soviet Union. He had lived there for about a year. He'd met his wife there. I think the Soviets thought maybe he could offer him some kind of intelligence. He might be useful for something. But, he had just been a low level Marine. So after a year or so, they kick him out. A rifle is found in the school book depository with Lee Harvey Oswald's fingerprints on it. He denies committing the crime. He says he was framed. He calls himself a patsy, which basically means, he was set up before he can be questioned even or put on trial. And questioned in open court. He is killed by a Dallas nightclub owner named Jack Ruby. Jack Ruby is a very sort of nefarious character in history. Some people say he had ties to the mafia. Other people said he did this out of just an anger about what Harvey Oswald had allegedly done. But he shoots Lee Harvey Oswald as they transfer him from one jail to another. And when he does this, of course, he kills Oswald, and we lose any chance to question the guy any further and answer a lot of those questions that we would have answered. So here is Kennedy, obviously, and here's the governor of Texas, John Connally. Here's his wife, and here's Jackie Kennedy in that famous pink suit. And this is just moments before his death. I will say, if anything good comes of this, this is the last time that presidents ever ride in open cars for obvious reasons. Here are a few other sort of iconic images. This is Harvey Oswald, and this is Jack Ruby, who's about to shoot Oswald, as you can see, the pistol in his hand here. And here is Lyndon B. Johnson being sworn in as president with a very distraught-looking Jackie beside him. Still in the same suit. They asked her if she wanted to change, as the suit had blood on it, and she said she wanted to have people remember, and so she kept that suit on. So there's a lot of kind of unanswered questions about this assassination. There are a lot of conspiracy theories out there about what really happened. I am personally, I'm not speaking from the textbook or anything, but personally, I'm not like a conspiracy theory person. I don't believe in these things. I believe that Neil Armstrong walked on the moon. I believe that 2 planes crashed into the World Trade Center and took it down. But this is one thing in history that I do sort of have some questions about. You'll hear people talk about the magic bullet, which says it would have been impossible for Lee Harvey Oswald's bullets to travel the way that they did, injuring both Kennedy or fatally, and also the governor of Texas, who was badly injured but survived. People talk about the grassy knoll, which is an area of grass, sort of a grassy hill, just to the left of where Kennedy's car was, and the figures who were there, and people who have not been accounted for in terms of who was there and why they were there, and people in disguises, and there's a lot of weird things behind it. The group that investigates the assassination was led by Earl Warren, who was Chief Justice of the Supreme Court prior to this, or actually after this. But he investigates the crime, and in 1963, they come to the conclusion, the Warren Commission report, that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone and was the lone sole assassin. And the reason that I partially have doubts is in 1979, the House of Representatives created a committee on assassinations. They were trying to figure out, among other things, to sort of close the book on the cases of not only John F. Kennedy's assassination, but also Robert Kennedy, Martin Luther King, also other actions that were, supposedly taken by the CIA during the Cold War, foreign leaders who were killed. I mean, this was a pretty sweeping investigation. But the House committee actually disagreed with the Warren Commission. They pronounced that JFK was probably killed as a result of a conspiracy, and it was probable that 4 shots were fired, and at least 1 came from a second gunman. So I mean, this is not some out there crazy lunatic fringe theory. I mean, this is the findings of the House of Representatives, which, say what you will about the House of Representatives, they do hold a very important place in the government, and obviously this kind of pronouncement carries some weight. So, this is something to think about. But, there is talk that this was perpetrated by the Cubans as revenge for Bay of Pigs and Cuban Missile Crisis. There's talk that the Soviets did it. There's talk that the mafia did it because, Robert Kennedy had gone after the mafia, JFK had gone after the mafia. There's also talk that it was perpetrated by the CIA, which is, probably maybe the most far-fetched, but, there had been talk that JFK, at least rumors, was going to disband the CIA or cut their funding. So, I mean, who knows? But, I think there's probably more to the story than we'll ever know. But, in terms of what you guys need to know for the test, the assassin is Lee Harvey Oswald, and that is the sort of final say by the Warren Commission, which is kind of seen as the ultimate voice on this. So anyway, we're going to start a whole new, chapter in American government with Lyndon B. Johnson, and unfortunately, we're also going to start getting into the Vietnam conflict a lot more in depth under Johnson. So we'll be getting to that soon. You guys, for the rest of the day today, watch the video that I left for you online. And that's America's Story of Us. So it'll cover some of this and some Cold War stuff. And then I'm also going to post you guys vocabulary for Vocab 7 if you want to start that. I didn't print the sheets out, but I'll post it on Classroom so you guys can get a jump on some of that if you want to. Otherwise, I will see you tomorrow, and have a good day. Thanks.